Hi friends, it's Secret Door Gaming. So this is part 2 of A New Dawn. Part 1, my cat was getting a little frisky, so I had to stop and start here. So let's get into part 2. Stupid. This is stupid. I take a step backward, and Dino takes a step forward. And then I use the only thing I know how to wrestle hogs. I tackle Andino, shoving my head straight into his abdomen. We both hit the ground with a dull thud. There's a long minute where we both sit there on the ground in silence. All the other fighters in the room have stopped and turned around to look at us. Oh, I guess I got a little too angry. And then... Ha 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 ha! I'm sorry. Well, it's good you know how to wrestle, but we still need you to be able to throw a punch. Lucy the Oinker is at the base of the ring, squealing in distress. I'm all right, Lucy the Oinker. No need to worry. We should leave before she thinks I'm truly harming you. Yes, never get a pig angry. They're ferocious. Especially the ones with horns. We make our way back above ground. Where should we go? The bar or the casino? Let's go to the casino. A casino? I have never heard of one before now. A whole building dedicated to playing card games. And you could even win money, a lot of money, according to Andino. Knew working was such a strange, fascinating place. Oh, I like the jazz music in the background. Cigarette smoke fills the air as Andino and I walk through, chatting with the patrons in their card games. We had decided to leave Lucy the Oinker outside, not quite sure if she would disrupt other players. Despite Andino's assurances that the family would have my back, my presence has only elicited glares. I guess I wasn't what they were expecting from the Don's heir. Definitely not. We sit down at a table and the dealer deals us in. We play a few rounds. I'm apparently awful at the game. I can't help but notice the faces of the other players as they leave our table. They're disappointed. I frown. I'm disappointed in myself. All of a sudden there's a commotion in front of the casino. I can hear some squealing. Oh no, Lucy the Oinker! I rush over there, forgetting all about the game I had been playing. Excuse me, excuse me. I have to shove my way to the front. Donna! His voice is lost in the commotion. I get to the front and see a few men goading Lucy the Oinker with a stick. Hey! You! Stop! I grab the stick from their hands and the two men whirl around on me. What? You know this hog girl? What are you doing in our turf anyway? I tighten my grip on the stick. That's my hog, and I'm the girl that Don left everything to. The whole casino screeches to a halt. Every single one of them is looking at me. Well, I needed to introduce myself, didn't I? Andino finally makes it through the crowd and stands by my side. I can hear a few gasps of recognition. Well, I guess we did it. Andino nudges my elbow, moving me back inside the casino. No one was going to mess with Lucy the Oinker now. I take a few breaths and sit down at one of the tables. It's crowded and Andino can't get a seat. He stands behind my chair. The dealer deals me in and I play a few rounds. I'm still bad, but I'm getting a little better. After the game, one of the players on the far end of the table leaves, and sliding into a spot is... Ugh. You again. Giacomi, I tense up. He doesn't look at me, but picks up the 2 cards dealt him. I look back at Andino, who just shakes his head. It's too crowded. He won't make a move. Giacomi races and I fold out of the round. He finally looks up at me. Folding so early? Certainly your hand wasn't that bad. I look at Heiden, but his face is a stone. No help there. What? Trying to get your bodyguard to talk for you? This is no fun. He folds. The pot goes to the player to my immediate right. Donna hiding behind her goons. You won't last long like that. I'm not hiding. Oh, she speaks. That smug look of his was starting to get to me. Just because I didn't answer you doesn't mean I was hiding. The dealer gives us our cards. My hand is okay, I stay in. Giacomi raises, then looks straight at me. And Dina moves close to the back of my chair. He was challenging me. Ugh! In front of all these people. I raise as well. Uh-oh, the music stopped. Good. This'll make this fun then. He's like a little snake with his green eyes. He raises, I raise, others fold. The pot is growing, and all of a sudden I understand how people can make money off this card game, and why they kept going back. This is fun! I said it almost to myself, but Giacomi looks up at me. The smirk from earlier is gone. He almost looks serious. And Dino moves to my left, putting himself between me and Giacomi. It's Giacomi's turn and he hasn't made a move. He could raise even more, but that would put him all in or pull out. He puts his cards down, looks at me and sighs. It was a delicate moment that was broken when two shadows show up and clap him on the back, dead drunk. Hey, boss. Let go of him, Tommy. Let me see, boss. You gonna beat her, ha-ha? Yeah, I'm trying. He was smirking again. I wasn't sure what that was back there, but it must have been a fluke. Donna Fia. Did he just cheat? And Dino turns to me, motioning me to put my cards down. Fold now? She's not Donna yet, and Dino all in. He shoves the rest of his chips into the pot. Staring at me, daring me. Tammy is leaning on his back, in her hand, a card. Of course, they're cheats. A snake. She was slipping him a card. A cheat and a murderer. This was going too far. Donna. I wasn't going to let this go. There was no way. After Lucy the Oinker being shot at, I was feeling the heat. All in. The crowd around us gasps. The dealer is sweating. I don't break eye contact with Giacomi. Show your cards. We flip. My 2 of jacks. Giacomi's 2 tens. I win. The crowd erupts. Tammy and Tommy start shrieking about there being a mistake. Giacomi sits still looking straight at me. There's no smirk, just a slow burning rage. I get up and motion to Andino. Let's go. I'm gonna go to the bar now. Alcohol was prohibited, but even in my hometown, if you look close enough, it was fairly easy to find. Here in New Working City, it was apparently so easy to find that there were entire establishments based around the concept of serving the contraband. Such was the bread and butter of the Veronocci's fortune, one I would have to grow into owning. This is our local bar. Feel free to order anything you would like. He leads me to a table so I can sit and look at the premises. It's not crowded, but it wasn't dead either. If I want the boys to know me, this is probably the best place for that. Why is there apples on the table? If I want to order something, I do it at the counter, correct? Let me. He follows me up to the counter where he places my order. I stand to the side and look around, feeling slightly useless. I could have ordered my own drink, couldn't I? Here. He's being a gentleman. At least he got the drink I wanted anyway. I lead to the table nearest with 2 women in a heated conversation. They stop and look at Andino. Hey, it's the Don's lackey. What are you doing out here all by yourself? I am escorting Donna Fia around her new bar. He steps to the side of me. The two women look questioningly at me and then back at Adino. They muffle a short Donna Fia, then continue their conversation in more muted tones. I can't help feeling like I'm missing out on something. I have an idea. It's somewhat brash, but I think it might be worth a shot. Andino, is this room secure? Of course, Donna. And no suspicious persons? No, Donna. The level of threat is low? Yes. This is one of the strongest holds of the Veranochis. Good. I down the last of my drink, anything to get a boost of needed confidence, and I hand him the glass. Return this to the barkeep. Very well, Donna. He turns to return, and I take the opportunity to slide up to the next table. This one has a man and a woman talking, also seriously. Good day to you. Well, hello to you there, missy. You idiot, that's the new Donna. What? Oh, forgive me, Donna, It's all right. I just want to meet everyone, and actually, I point to where Andino is trying to get the barkeep's attention. He seems to put everyone on edge. I want to see what was going on. There's a bit of a depressive air in here. Well. The man and woman look uneasily at each other. If you really want to know. You idiot. You can't just tell the Donna. I'm gonna say it. We know the Dawn has chosen you, but well, we just don't know why. No one has ever heard of you, and here everybody was thinking that old Stefan was going to take over the family. Stefan, the oldest son of Marco and Giacome's father. But the Dawn never chose him, you know, and then all that happened, and well, it puts us all on edge. I see. And well, there's Giacomo and then you, Donna. We followed Don Marco's wishes, of course, but there was a time there that we didn't even know you existed. And people were looking at Giacomo like he was going to be a stand-in for Stefan. Even the old Don didn't choose him. We still need a leader. It was messy, you know, real messy. I didn't know that at all. Certainly a lot to think about. And well, Donna, more boys be getting hit by the Stericios. These past few weeks, it's starting to feel pretty bad out here. There you are, Donna. The woman and man turn on bright smiles and sit up straight. Whatever chance I had at getting to know them better just dried up. I smile back. Yes, and I was just hearing about how things are going with the family. We're all excited for the ceremony. It's been so long since we had a Donna. The Veranochis are coming back. Indeed they are. He nods back towards our table. People seemed always so uptight with him around. I agreed and we headed back. The sun was setting. We had best get back. The city changes after dark. Oh? Uh-oh, the music stopped. We know something bad's going to happen when the music stops. We head to the mansion, but Andino stops before opening the door. Donna, I feel as if I should warn you. He looks around once and glances back at me. He drops his voice to a whisper. It is in your best interest not to trust anyone here. Even you? He looks back, saying nothing. His shoulders point downward, but I can't tell what it means. Let us return. He opens the door, holding it open. I look at him and then into the door. This was a whole new world, new working. I had to be on my toes. I can't even trust him. My bodyguard. That night I explored Grandfather Marco's rooms further. Everything is of exquisite quality, again making me wonder how anyone could leave it all behind. I run my hands over the bedsheets, fingers dancing over the silk threads. I was too shocked yesterday to fully appreciate the details. I sit down on the bed, mindlessly looking out the window. Lucy the Oinker is currently digging at something at the head of the bed. Stop that, Lucy the Oinker! You'll splinter the wood! I go over to push her off, but notice that she's been trying to grab a bit of twine sticking out between the headboard and the wall. I reach in and retrieve the twine. Out comes a key dangling from the twine around my finger. Huh? I wonder how long that has been there. She huffs and goes to sniff elsewhere around the room. I slip the key back into my pocket, but my eye can't help but wonder the old oak desk up against the poisoned wall. There was a small drawer underneath, a keyhole visible. I walk over and pull. It's locked. Well, let's try this. I slide the key into the hole and turn. It opens with a click. Pulling open the desk drawer, I immediately see numerous papers, envelopes, and in the back a small wrapped item tied with a string. I tentatively pick it up and open it. In my hands is a bright red bracelet that gleams from where the lights hit it. It's gorgeous. I turn it around in my hands. A small tag is on one side. It says, "To my flower Flora, Marco." A bracelet for my grandmother? But what was it doing in this desk? I look down and see an unopened envelope underneath. I open and find my answer. He had sent the gift to her in the mail, but she had returned it. She had written that she preferred his company to that of any gaudy gifts. Underneath that letter are more. Between Marco and Flora, my grandparents, it was obvious they were in love. The way they addressed each other, the number of letters, the fact that he had kept the letters. If only my mother could have seen this, would she still have said that she was a traitor, a harlot? But how could she be if she was this happy? My grandmother had smiled more in those past few years than in the entirety of her previous life. I just wish my mother could see that. I found an empty sheet of paper at the bottom of the drawer. A quill laid unused on the desk. I picked it up and began to write to my mother. She had said she would never forgive me, but I just want her to see, to understand, that life didn't need to end there. We didn't have to work ourselves on the farm until we couldn't breathe, that there could be a bit of happiness for us all. I wrote this all out and then some. I didn't even notice when I eventually fell asleep. Knock, knock. Donafia. I jolt awake at the desk, a quill in my right hand and the pot of ink spilled over my left. Yes? I sit up further and a maid excuses herself as she enters the room. She takes a startled look at me and then at the unmade bed. She quickly runs to the window and looks outside. Is everything all right? Donna, did you sleep at the desk last night? Oh, I must have. I try to rub the sleep from my eyes. She calmly walks over to the dresser and pulls out a new dress. She helps me into it, but I can't shake the image of her rushing to the window. What happened? Nothing, Donna. I turned to face her. Something wasn't right. Where's Andino? Outside, Donna. I rush over to the door and fling it open. Francisca was rubbing off on me. Andino! Donna. He looked as clean and professional as the day before, but if there was a sign of something amiss, he wouldn't be one to show it. Did something happen? There were reports of noises outside the courtyard last night, but no further information is known. I look at the maid. You said nothing was wrong. I didn't want to worry you, Donna. She's fidgeting. Lucy the oinker has picked up the tension in the room and begins to snip the girl's skirts. You lied to me. I'm very sorry, Donna. Lucy the oinker lets out a puff of air that ruffles the girl's skirts. She could be intimidating up close. This is not to happen again, do you understand? Yes, Donna. She bows slightly, keeping her eyes down. I look to Andino and motion towards the stairs. The three of us head downstairs. Ooh, she's getting tough, Fia. You learn quickly, Donna. You told me not to trust anyone. I did. It was hard feeling like I couldn't trust anyone. It was a foreign feeling, and Dino at least, I wanted to know if I could trust him. I have a job for you. Anything. Look, he's smiling. He's even smiling a bit. I reach into my skirt pockets and pull out the letter I had spent all night writing. Mail this to my mother. Oh, he's thinking like, I want to go knock somebody off or, tie some like cement boots around them and throw them into the lake. But no, just mail this letter to my mother. Be a postman for me, Dino. Your mother. He's so, enthused. Yes, she deserves to know I'm still alive, even if she doesn't want to hear from me. I'm holding out the letter, but he hasn't taken it yet. I wave it in his face a few times. Well, you are my grandfather's right-hand man, right? Will you do the same for me? He takes the envelope, slipping into his own jacket. You can still go home. Home? To the pastures full of hog manure, where the only things waiting for me at day's end were the cold hard stares of my mother and a sky full of static. I'd rather die here than go back. At least here it's exhilarating. Maybe you do have a bit of a monster in you. Monster? What? Very well, Donna. I will mail your letter. From the next room I can hear, Fia! Donna, Fia! And in walks Lady Francesca. If there had been a door, I'm sure she would have slammed it open. Good morning. I heard you were up late last night. She had. You could sleep in. If you need your beauty sleep, I understand. We need to train before. We? Oh, Andino, you didn't forget about your little job, did you? Job? I look at him, but he doesn't turn to look at me. He's just staring at Lady Francesca. Like I said, she can sleep in. There's no real rush to these things. The rest of the family won't be here for 3 more days. Or if she has her heart set on it, she could train herself. You introduced yourself to the boys yesterday, after all. It's safe. Was it? I look at Andino, but he isn't looking at me. Well, as a Donna, I guess I had to make my own decisions. Should I stay in or should I go out? I'm gonna go out. Risk it. I should make the best use of my time. Even if alone. But Lucy the Oinker would be with me, a small comfort. Such a hard worker. Martha would be so proud of you. I head outside, waving to them. Francesca smiles and waves, and Dino does not. So where should we go, Lucy the Oinker? Well, let's go to the boxing. I need some training. Some rocky training. Yes, Fia's gonna be Rocky. Rocky 2. Going back underground, Lucy the Oinker and I find ourselves in the boxing gym again. There are a handful of men standing around, still punching the poop out of each other. I notice that their stances are really good. I should be able to hit like that, Lucy the Oinker. Oink! Then let's get to training. I throw on some of the leather gloves Dino has shown me the other day, and I step up to a punching bag. I punch and I punch and I punch some more. I lose track of the time, focusing solely on the enemy in front of me and the goal I want to attain. I hit to the side of the bag, missing the trajectory of my punch, flinging me forward. I hit the ground, landing straight on my gloved hands. My knee is banged up, but the gloves are protecting me from the impact of the floor. Interesting. It would be nice to have this leather, not just on my hands, but all over my body for protection. Oink! Yeah, like body armor. I pick myself up, thinking it's best time for a break. I take the gloves off and look around the room. Everyone had left except for a lone figure on the far side of the room. Uh-oh. I hadn't been paying much attention to any of the other fighters, but something about this man had caught my eye. Okay, there were scars all over his back, and every fist he threw felt like it could knock a building down. Wow. I get close and the man turns to face me. It's Andino. Oh.
Donna, were you here the whole time?
Yeah, I was training. Did you finish your job?
Yes, the letter has been sent.
I meant Francesca's job.
Ah.
He looks away for a moment.
Yes, it's been completed.
I see. I raised both my fists to my face, bending my knees. I thought I was the Donna, but you're following her orders too, huh? I make a light jab, but keep a smile on my face.
I follow you.
All right, then fight me.
Donna, I don't want to give you a black eye before the ceremony. Oh, it was on now.
That's assuming you can hit me. I aim for his side, but he easily blocks me. He still hasn't dropped into any stance, though. Or maybe you're afraid you'll be beaten by a pig wrestler. I circle around to his side, and he finally puts up his fists. We really ought to teach you more moves than just tackling your opponent. It worked last time. He surges forward, catching me off guard, and hooks his left leg behind my knee, knocking me to the floor. Hey, no fair! I get back up and throw an uppercut. He dodges, circling around to my back. He kicks the backs of my knees and I fall again. This isn't at all what you taught me yesterday.
We're covering new material.
I appreciate it, but I'm starting to get annoyed at having to get back up. He starts to move around to my back again. I have a split second and I'm gonna sidestep. Because I tackled him last time. Let's do I step to the side, avoiding his legs. I roll back around and step out of his range. He's smiling at me. Very good. I put my fist back up to my face and wait for him to make another move. He had been using the same move multiple times in a row. I was starting to see a rhythm to his movements. Again, he moves to my left, positioning his leg near my left knee. I stick my leg out and hook around the back of his leg, forcing us both down. Oh, look at that. That's kind of cute. Look at her face. She's all red. If you use the same move more than once, people will be able to see through it, right? Donna, you would typically knock them down from the back. Otherwise, you run the risk of falling down yourself. Well, I'm learning. Good job, otherwise. She trains in her, skirts. A rush of pride fills me. I was getting better at this. And Dino was smiling at me, and I couldn't deny it was a pretty nice view. Oink! Wait, Lucy the Oinker's jealous. Yeah, Lucy the Oinker! Or she's climbing on top of them both. The mood, if there really was one at all, was gone, and I quickly got up off Dino. Way to go, Lucy the Oinker. She goes back to sniffing my boots. I wonder if I had done something wrong in raising her, since she was so fixated on smelling things. What time is it? We should probably head back. It had already been late when I had first noticed Andino. Who knows if the sun had already set? Please, return without me. You're not coming back? I will. I just need to train some more. Uh-oh. There's no hint of the smile from earlier. You have Lucy the Oinker, who has shown to be a powerful protector. She huffs at the mention of her name. I wasn't worried about protection. I was... He looks at me with a confused look. Maybe I was just missing his company. It was something reassuring in a world out to get me, that was for sure. All right, I'll head back. Be careful yourself.
There's no need to worry about me, Donna.
Lucy the Oinker and I leave him to his training. I made it back to the mansion right before the sun had fully set. I would eventually have to learn what new working was like after dark, but I didn't think today was a good day for that. There's a group of men standing right outside the front door. I didn't like it. I paused in my tracks. The sun was still setting and I didn't want to be caught out at night. I go through the front door and try to find a side entrance. I think one of these leads to death, so I'll try to find a side entrance. Instead, I go around the side of the mansion looking for another way in. I can hear a bit of commotion from the men I had left in front of the house, seemingly confirming my suspicions. I duck around the corner, seeing a door that looks like it opens into the mansion. I take it and slam the door open. The kitchen staff stop dead in their tracks and all turn to look at me. I guess they weren't anticipating their Donna to show up out of the blue. Donna, what are you doing? Surprisingly, Andino is there amongst the kitchen staff. How the hell did he get from the boxing gym to here before me? I can ask you the same question. He seems nervous. There was a group of men out front I didn't trust. As if to accentuate my point, I close the door behind me, stepping fully into the kitchens. Call it a hunch. I see, I'll have someone look into it. The kitchen staff keep glancing between Andino and I. The cook in particular has been staring at me ever since I walked in. In the future. He looks down and doesn't elaborate for a few moments. Then, it is good to go with your instincts. Good to know. The kitchen staff go back to their duties and Andino attaches himself to my side. Lucy the oinker has started getting into a sack of potatoes. None of the staff attempt to chase her off. Andino and I move toward the main part of the house, attempting to shake off the recent series of events. I had to be more careful from now on. That night, before bed, I looked through my grandfather's letters again. Or, that is what was left of the letters. They had been moved around. And the vibrant bracelet I had found the day before, it's gone. Vanished without a trace. Someone had gone through my rooms. I thought back to the maid this morning and her strange actions. I felt sick. Was that all she had done? I move to the window and look outside, but can't see anything. I can see she had laid out my clothing for the next day. But I tossed them into the bin. In the bed, I ripped the sheets and blankets off. I threw the pillows off. I didn't trust anything she had touched. Lucy the oinker looks at me oddly. I was making a mess of the room for seemingly no reason. Lucy the oinker, can you sniff this? I hand her one of the bed sheets, which she begins to sniff in that Lucy the oinker way of hers. She immediately snorts out and lets out a soft squeal. She didn't like it. Well, that settles that. I toss in the bin as well. Grandfather Marco's rooms were so nice. It was a shame I had to sleep on the floor, but I was safe that way. Drifting off to sleep, I swear to myself that I was going to make it through this no matter what. I immediately dismissed the maid the next morning. I asked Andino to meet me instead. As per usual, Francesca had invited me to breakfast. The time was ready to start my training in earnest, her messenger had said. Unbeknownst to her, I had already started my own training, but then again, I'm grateful for anything she could teach me. I don't trust her. How is that you knew my brother? He never mentioned having a daughter. Francesca had been asking me questions for at least 10 minutes, but I couldn't fully concentrate on what she had been saying. Not when the girl serving us our breakfast was the same woman I had dismissed from my service just this morning. What is she doing here? Oh, well, I heard you had an issue with her, but good help is so hard to find these days, especially ones in the family. I thought it was a waste to toss her out completely. I try to keep my hands flat on the table. Am I being mocked? But if she is distracting you, we can send her away. She waves her hand and the girl disappears back into the kitchens. You never did answer my question, by the way. I let out a minuscule breath, relief, but just a little. He and my grandmother were very fond of each other. Your grandmother, who was? Grandmother Flora. She was, also a hog farmer, or her husband was before he passed away. I didn't know how much to say Grandmother Flora. Where did I even start? Story time. This is how the story goes. Once upon a time there was a lonely old woman who lived by herself on a large hog farm on top of the highest hill. The farm used to be bustling, hogs and children running, laughter flitting on the wind. But over the years it decayed. Her daughter had married a man who lived at the bottom of the hill and moved out. The old woman's husband had passed away and the hogs went to slaughter to pay to keep the farm. That had frustrated the daughter. Why sell the pigs to keep the land, she had said. And it was a sensible question. The daughter had land at the bottom of the hill, a hog farm of her own. But the old woman still did not sell. She stayed up there with just herself, and her thoughts. Sometimes the daughter would visit. Sometimes she would visit with her own daughter. The old woman, her daughter, and her granddaughter. But it was an awfully steep hill, and there was nothing up there except for the old woman. So over the years, the daughter visited less and less. Sometimes the granddaughter would visit on her own, after having fought with her own mother. The old woman would always take her in. But living by yourself on top of high hill has its side effects. The wind had eroded the old woman. She barely spoke even to her granddaughter. So her granddaughter never stayed very long. The silence was cold and harsh, and perhaps the old woman just wanted to be left alone. But then one day something curious happened. The old woman found an old man walking by himself up the hill. He wasn't from the bottom of the hill. He wasn't from the town. A stranger with a strange accent. His name was Marco. And the old woman found that he did not mind her silence at all. I shipped the napkin in my hands. Perhaps Francisca didn't need to know all the details. Maybe she could never understand Grandmother Flora. A hog farmer. He could have had any woman in this city he desired, and instead found some widowed pig woman. No, I don't think she could ever understand her. Forgive me, it's just the story is so riveting. And perhaps I would never understand Francesca. He had a habit of picking up strays. Oof, she's a nasty thing. She points to Andino, who was standing stone-faced next to my chair. That one, for instance, found a brat boy who was part of that. She trails off, a smile on her face. She looks like she's about to tell a joke, but she's staring straight at Andino. He doesn't move. A second passes. I'm left on the edge of my seat, despite my better judgment, waiting to see what she's about to say. Well, I suppose now's not the time for that. Before I can say anything, a new serving girl comes in and places our next dish in front of us. It's another plate of ham. If there was something I could recognize on sight, it would be the flesh of the hogs I've been taking to slaughter my entire life. Except this one. It had a strange sheen to the meat. Was it rancid? We'll start you on shooting lessons today and then. Or perhaps. Francesca takes a fork of the meat and is about to eat it, and I. Oh. So basically I can kill her by her eating the bad meat. Or poison. It might be poisoned, actually. Say nothing, but I don't want to poison her. I'm not that kind of Via. I reach out and yell, "No!" Francesca looks at me strangely, but puts her fork down. Andino looks over at me and I show him the meat. It might be poisoned. A few of the servers let out gasps. A man comes up behind Francesca to take a closer look at the meat. He nods his head. Francesca snaps her fingers and a few men pull the maid back from the kitchens. When she's in reach, Francesca grabs her neck and slams her onto the table. A loud popping noise echoes out. Poison? How base. Who put you up to this? I didn't do anything. I swear, not a feet. Francesca slams her into the table again. I won't ask again. The cook put the poison in the food. Francesca snaps her other hand and a few men disappear back into the kitchens. Francesca looks back at me, a carefree look on her face. This is going to throw off our whole day. How troublesome. There's yelling coming from the kitchens and the men come pulling the cook between them. He's screaming. Take them away, the both of them, you know where. Much too noisy. The two men nod and drag the maid and the cook off into the next room. I had a sinking suspicion of where they were going. Would you like to watch? I don't think that's appropriate. You coddle her too much, boy. She's inheriting this, you know. I twist my hands a bit. In a way, she was right. I'm sure no one enjoyed watching interrogations, but I remembered grandmother's words. It's a necessary task. It has to be done. Just like Slaughter Day, you had to numb yourself to the inevitable of the actions. And with this, I suppose the Veronaccis had their own form of Slaughter Day, just with humans. Ugh. I'll watch. Good girl. Now we'll warm 'em up. Come back later, Lieutenant, and we can get the good bits. I swallow. I could do that, and Dina was looking at me with faint worry. Francesca has seemingly not a care in the world. She loves to torture people. Ugh. And here we were right after a poisoning attempt. The Veronaccis are terrifying. Outside the sun is bright. I feel uneasy but deciding to get my mind off things. We have a few hours. I suppose we can train in the meantime. It had been directed at Andino, but he looks lost in thought. Andino? Yes, Donna? Is everything all right? Yes, I was just thinking about how to increase security measures for yourself. He seemed stressed. Because I was too weak to protect myself, I want to get better so he doesn't feel the need to fill that void. Let's train. All right. Boxing it is. There's no one in the boxing gym this day, and Dina and I put on some gloves to get to practicing. He teaches me some more moves and even provides some tips on how best to perfect my hog tackle, as he calls it. It was just about time to return. I couldn't put this off any further. Are you ready, Andino? After you, Donna. Uh-oh. I turned to open the mansion front door when it slams open on its own. All of a sudden, I'm face to face with Giacomi, little slime. I quickly take a few steps back. Andino puts himself between the two of us. Does no one know how to open a door? What's up, boss? Why you stop? I can see Tammy and Tommy over Giacomi's shoulders. His goons. He doesn't say anything to her, but his face looked like he ate something bad. If I'm lucky, it was poisoned pork. Tammy and Tommy both see me and skirt around their boss. Tammy walks right up to me and stops. Andino puts his hand in front of me, but Tammy's still just looking at me. What did she want? Can I help you? Move, we're walking here. Tommy has come up behind her, but Giacomi is still frozen in the doorframe. She wanted me to move aside? No. Andino looks back at me, smiling a bit. I'm the new Donna, aren't I? Not for 2 more days, you aren't. It's a matter of time. You should be wanting to get into my good graces. Though I suppose you're more used to having your boots licked. Tammy and Tommy looked as if they had just been slapped right across the face. Giacomi's face is stoic, but then slowly melts into rage. Oh yeah, he uses his gun because he's such a coward. Tommy reaches into his vest pocket, and Lucy the Oinker screams, baring her tusk. And Dino reaches into his own jacket. We all stand still, waiting for the first person to move. You want to do this, huh? Tommy, that's enough. Looking over to him, I can see Francesca and a few men are now in the entryway. We have an audience. Giacomi is the first to move. He walks past Tammy and Tommy, skirts around me, and continues down the street. Tammy and Tommy scramble to catch up. Tommy tries to shove his shoulder into me, but Lucy the Oinker sticks him in the ass with her tusk. Ouch! One of the men near Francesca stifles a laugh. I don't turn around, keeping my face forward, looking straight at Francesca. She's smiling at me, but there's an air of respect there. I needed her to respect me. I need her to respect my rule. Very good, Donna. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Good. I just have to keep this up. It's kind of addicting, honestly. Of course. She's kind of changing, though, into not like the sweet little Fia that she used to be, though. Like, instead into somebody hard and cold and deadly and dangerous. I don't know if I quite like this Fia. In a sick way, what I saw was not that much different than what I had to do on Slaughter Day. It turns out the insides of humans look disturbingly similar to that of hogs, so at the end of it I was unfazed. Ooh. Disturbingly unfazed. In the end, the cook nor the maid said where they had gotten the poison, but it was known that they had supported Stefan and most recently Giacomi. It was a disturbing thought, but nothing we didn't already know. I go to bed that night feeling more secure in my rooms and with a burning fight in my heart. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. Ooh. Gunshot. 2 gunshots go off in the night. But other than that, I wake up feeling peaceful. Looking out the window, I can see the corner of Central and 4th. This time tomorrow, the whole Veronocci family will have gathered to claim me as their new Donna. I just needed to survive until then. Look, it's Friday. The stolen bracelet. The poisoned meal. Giacomi's shot. All of these swam around in my head. Someone doesn't want me to inherit. Giacomi, who had tried to kill me the very first time we had met. The first son of Marco. Someone who in another world would have inherited everything. It was him, right? Even if he seemed conflicted sometimes. Then there's Francesca, grandfather Marco's sister. For some reason the topic of her becoming Donna had never come up. She was cruel, there was no doubt. I didn't trust her. And then Andino? My grandfather's right-hand man, he's so tight-lipped, it's hard to tell what he's thinking. He's protected me so far, so for that I suppose I can trust him. I just can't shake the feeling that he isn't telling me everything, however. Just then there's a knock on the door. I open it and speak of the devil, it's Andino. He's holding a plate of food. I suppose brunch with Francesca had been cancelled. After yesterday, I suppose that's obvious. Donna. Come in. He closes the door behind him and places the plate on Grandfather Marco's desk. Did you not bring anything for yourself? You need not worry about me. Well, I could try. I popped one of the berries on the plate into my mouth. It was the day before the ceremony. It was just the 2 of us. If I was going to get any information out of him, it was now. What do you think of yesterday's events? The cook was put up to it. He wouldn't have done that on his own. No one in the kitchen hates you that much. They would have attacked you when you snuck back through their doors otherwise. They're looking for someone to follow, and they're eager to throw their weight behind anyone. They know the Sterizios are drawing in. They smell blood. I swallow thickly, smelling blood. Well, if that isn't close to the truth. Just last night. The gunshots. He nods. The Sterizios shot 2 of our men over on 3rd. That was only a block away. They're that close? Before they weren't, but now it's unsure of just how far they've come. There's a lot running on me surviving till the funeral, huh? Yes. He seemed stressed, which for obvious reasons, but on him it was an odd look. Can I trust you? He doesn't say anything for a good few seconds. My heart sinks a little. Why did I ask that anyway? But then, it's not wise for a Dawn to trust anyone. Oh well, it sounded like wise words at least. But don't trust me. But know that everything I do is to serve you, to serve the family. My life belongs to you. Yet I'm not supposed to believe that. You will demand it from us. There will be those who will fall short. Cut them out quickly. And you? Will I have to cut you out? Your will is absolute, if you wish it. I think I was getting a little better at reading him. His eyes seemed so blank. There was a slight glint in his eyes. Then follow my orders. Follow me to the grave. Gladly, Donna. Oh, okay. I was going to like this. First order, let me eat my breakfast. A slight smile. Let's do some more boxing. I'm making her into like a real fit Thea. We train more. The boxing gym is almost empty now, and the few that are there seem nervous and paranoid. I just had to make it to the ceremony. I just had to survive one more day. I wasn't close to being proficient at hand-to-hand combat, but at least I was more equipped at whatever they would throw at me. Something's going to happen. I can feel it. I can see the sun beginning to set on the horizon. We need to get back to the mansion soon. I turned to go back down the street to the main house, but Andino puts out a hand, stopping me. Uh-oh. What are you? Wait here. He takes off down the street, turning a corner. I can no longer see him. What? I look up at the horizon again. The sun is setting fast. Damn it, Andino, now? We can't wait. Lucy the Oinker. I run down the road back to the mansion. Turning the corner, I run boldly into someone. I look up, a gray-eyed gray man. My blood runs cold. I back up. Sorry, He brandishes a knife and cuts low against my abdomen. It cuts clean through my shirt, skirting off my leather bodice. It saves me from a fatal blow, but the force of the attack pushes me over. Ooh, smart girl. She put leather around her stomach. Poop. I get up as quick as possible, but the man lunges again. Lucy the Oinker screams and rushes him. Her tusk spears him in the chest, but the man gets one last cut on her leg. She screams, pulling the two of them to the ground. He's dead. Lucy the Oinker is struggling to get back on her legs. There's blood blossoming from her leg. Lucy the Oinker! This is bad. I look up. More gray-eyed, gray coats are moving in. This is an attack. Where the hell is Andino? I need to get out. I move to push Lucy the Oinker. She's limping. One of the men in the distance draws another knife. Why aren't they using their guns? They're getting closer. Do I tackle the closest guy? Look for a gun in the corpse? Well, you don't even know how to shoot, girl. And the guy's gonna stab you by the time you get the gun. I don't know. What's gonna kill me? Let's try look. No, I say don't want people to know. Lucy the Oinker sees the new attackers and starts to move into an attack position. She's going to get herself killed. I rummage through the dead man's coat and find what I know is there, a gun. Too bad that Donna never got around to teaching me to shoot, but you just point and pull the trigger, right? I aim at the charging man and pull the trigger. Nothing. What? Ah! But the men quickly scatter, dodging down side streets. They think it's loaded. I need to get out of here before they come back. I call Lucy the Oinker, but she's still limping. I need to go now. I'm sorry, Lucy the Oinker. I rush off back towards the headquarters. Everywhere I look, more gray eyes. No, this is bad. How many of them are there? And Lucy the Oinker is a sitting duck trailing after me, blood seeping out of her leg wound now. She's trying so hard to keep up. I need help. Andino! I rush into the front door and immediately duck. A gray coat shoots straight into the door frame. Ah! What the hell? Where the hell did he go? I duck into the dining room, grab a candlestick, the closest thing to me, and throw it behind me. It hits something, but I don't stop to look. I dash under the table as another bullet hits the tabletop. I whirl around. The gray coat enters the room and he falls down dead. Someone grabs my arm and hauls me out from under the table. Andino! Into the kitchens, now! He has a pistol in his hand and easily shoots into the gray coat who rounds the corner in front of us. It's a whirl of shots, of screams, and we make it into the kitchens. He leads me into the back near the cellars. We stay out of sight for a few minutes. I'm breathing heavily, but he hasn't broken a sweat. I never did beat him at boxing after all. Why didn't you stay put?
And Dino, Lucy the Oinker, she's injured. We need to.
I rush out, but he grabs my hand and pulls me back. Not yet. We need to wait for Lady Francesca to get the mansion back under control. A few more shots ring out in the distance. What if that was Lucy the Oinker? And Dino hasn't let go of my hand and he pulls me closer. Aw. How are you so calm? I can hear his heart beating fast, but his face betrays no emotion. I guess that it means to be a very noche. He looks down at me. If I wasn't so angry at him, I might even be feeling something. I just wish Lucy the Oinker was with me. A crash rings out in the neighboring dining room. We both look up from around the corner. Lucy the Oinker ambles in, blood trailing her.
Lucy the Oinker!
I rush to her side. She gives out a few sad-sounding snorts, and Dino quickly follows. Oh, there you are. Francesca comes sweeping in. She gives me a hug, ignoring Lucy the Oinker and Dino. Her men follow right behind her. There were so many bodies. Well, you are the Dawn's heir after all. Don't worry, boys, we found her. Who were they? The Stericio's awful. It's because we don't have a new Dawn yet, you know. Well, good thing you survived. Tomorrow we'll rectify that. Every hair on her hair is immaculate. Am I the only one who looks like a mess? The life of Verinoce is terrifying. Now that all the excitement has died down, I'll check in with the boys to see the damage. She's talking with her hands, flinging them around, and one of those arms is a bright red bracelet, one that has gone mysteriously missing. My blood runs cold. Okay, and Dino and I will investigate my rooms to make sure they're safe and get Lucy the Oinker some medical attention. I glare at him, pulling him towards the stairs. Poor Lucy the Oinker, she looms behind us. The Donna was rifling around in my rooms. She was wearing a bracelet that my grandfather had. And Dino. She seemed to show up at the right time. And you, Andino, you disappeared right before I was going to be attacked, did you know? I wanted to trust him. I needed to trust him. Without him, I had no one on my side, no connection to Grandfather Marco. And more than that, even though he was so stoic, I never felt intimidated by him. It was the opposite. In fact, I felt like I could do anything and he'd allow it. It was addicting in a way. I just needed to know if he would be in my corner when the time came. Lady Francesca has her own agenda. Clearly. The first time we had breakfast with her, she was about to say something about you. What was it? He swallows thickly. He's not normally this nervous. It looks unnatural on him. I'm not sure. Are you lying to your Donna? He looks at me. I've caught him red-handed. Who do you serve, me or her? You. Do you? Yes. Bull poop. I slap him across the face. It was meant to be a punch, but I kind of messed up the form. Don't you ever lie to me ever again. Yes, Donna. Now tell me what she was going to say. She was going to bring up. He swallowed thickly again. I could see him trying to form the next words, but saying nothing. Does she have something on you? He looks at me shocked. I had guessed right. What is it? Is there something you don't want to tell me? Why can't you trust me? I would die for you, Donna. I just fear. Fear was a foreign look on him. That I would cast you aside? I'm an outsider, Andino. A new dawn. I don't know what hold she has over you, but it loses its power when others know. So tell me, I order it. He closes his eyes and takes a moment. I can hear Lucy the Oinker snoring in the background. A well-deserved rest for her. The old Don found me, raised me to be his right-hand man. I did not belong to the family. He doesn't elaborate. Then where did you belong? I belonged to the Verinoches. Yes, now, but then? I was born Astericios. He hasn't looked up at all. The silence is heavy. But you're here now. Yes. How did that come to be? Story time. This is how the story goes. Once upon a time there was a dirty little boy who was told to pickpocket passengers at the train station. He went there day in and out. To him it was almost a second home. But one day a tall opposing man came through the train station. The little boy recognized him as his family's greatest rebel, Marco Verinoche. The little boy trailed him to see where he was going. The man had boarded a train departing to the countryside. What a strange thing for such an intimidating man to do. The little boy told his family. They told him to keep an eye on the man. And that's how the little boy came to realize that Marco came back quite frequently to the train station. Each time departing on a train to the countryside, the family told him to sit and watch. But the little boy had other plans. He was going to rob this man. The Stericios would be so proud of him. So one day the little boy decided it was time. He snuck up behind the man, and as quickly as he could, he slipped his hand into the man's coat pocket. He didn't find a wallet, but instead a piece of candy. Looking up, the man was looking back over his shoulder at the little boy. He winked. This started an unusual chain of events. Marco began to talk to the little boy multiple times every time he visited this train station. And eventually the little boy almost looked forward to seeing the man's arrival. He had so many interesting stories. But his family told him that the time for waiting was over and he was to act. Not to rob him, but to kill him. A big mission for such a little boy. But they knew about his friendship, knew that he had ample opportunity to do it. But the little boy couldn't. Marco was his friend. No, he wasn't, said his family, and they beat him. Told him either he was going to kill Marco or they would kill him. So for one last time he met the man at the train station. He greeted Marco with a face full of fresh scars and bruises. And Marco took him home, took him away from his family and gave him new clothes, a new name and a new job. The Verinoches never knew who he had been, but the Stericios remembered and waited. I had no idea. She was most likely going to bring up my past. I can only imagine she learned of it from her workings with the Stericios. My heart stops. What? But why? She's the Don's sister. Maybe they have something on her like she had on me. Or perhaps there's no logic to it at all. And they would know your past because they are my past. His eyes a grayish blue. There's silence between us, his words, the story he had told me. It was all sinking in. Lucy the Oinker is still snoring. Well, you're ours now. Donna? You and I both were saved by the dawn. I was meant to be my mother's caretaker, to stay there, to die there. But I hated it so much. It was killing me. I felt like I couldn't breathe. But grandfather Marco, he gave me this opportunity to leave. And despite possibly being murdered, I really wouldn't have changed it for the world. I feel like I'm living, finally. He's smiling at me, I smile back. He's told me his past now that Francesca doesn't have anything on him. I can trust him. I want nothing more. I want him on my side. And oh, maybe there's something else there. Maybe I... Snore. Ah, Lucy the Oinker. She should be healed up in time for the ceremony tomorrow. Ungrateful she wasn't too badly hurt. As am I.
Oh, well, good, because the two of us are a set. Then I will gladly follow Lucy the Oinker's command as well. He bows slightly and I laugh. And Dino telling a joke? What a strange sight, but I welcome it. One last laugh before... And you, Donna, I will follow you to the grave. Thank you. I'll need it tomorrow. Let's sleep. I awake to a response from my mother. Just like your grandmother, selfish to the very end. Well, maybe I was, but I couldn't stop now. I was going to beat this game. I was going to become the Donna. The day of the funeral has arrived. Saturday. The ceremony was set to play out like this. The whole family gathers in the street. We hold a toast to the old Don. The Don's will is read. All high-ranking members of the family are to pledge their alliance to me by a single kiss on the hand and then more festivities. That absolutely most definitely was not how it was going to go down. And Dino and I were well aware. Are you ready, Donna? I take a few deep breaths. It was a good run, no matter what was about to happen. I'm glad it came to this. Absolutely. I readjust my leather vest under my dress and straighten the homemade leather shawl on Lucy the Oinker. There's a knock at the door. It's a maid, not my maid, sent to collect us. I guess Francesca was through pretending to be friendly. I nod to Andino, who says, Gladly, Donna. Andino. The family was big, like big. When Francesca had said it would take a while for the whole family to arrive, I was a bit skeptical. But now seeing them all spread out between 4th and Central, it made sense. And in the crowd I can see spots of gray suits. This wasn't going to go smoothly. Ladies and gentlemen of the family, thank you for gathering here today. We are set to see the start of a new era for us in our empire. Francesca is addressing the crowd from the middle of the platform. I stand to her right, gazing out into the faces of the crowd. Behind me I know is Andino, right off the stage. Lucy the Oinker is at the base of the platform, where she keeps trying to climb up to me. Out of my peripheral vision, I can see Giacomo and his 2 lackeys. They have a disturbingly blank expression on their faces. A single bead of sweat slowly makes its way down my face. Francesca turns to me. Apparently she was still addressing the crowd, but I hadn't heard a word she had said. Fia? Shoot, what had she said? Yes? Francesca has a small knife in her hand and an old piece of paper. I remember this part of the ceremony. I go over and prick my thumb and put it on the paper. Above my thumbprint is that of my grandfather's. Even if I died here, there was some proof of me existing. Now, for the reading of the will. A man steps forward to start reading off of a scroll, and something flashes in my eyes, and... Before I know it, I'm shoved to the floor, and Dino above me pulling out his gun. Shots ring out. I can see the reader lies dead on the platform. I look out into the crowd. The gray suits haven't moved, and they're all looking at me with mocking smiles. I've had enough. Those gray coats are stereocios, I can't even say it. Stericios. I look straight into the eyes of my boys in the crowd, the men I had seen in the boxing ring, in the casino, the bar. I was their leader now. I had to give them orders. Root them out and kill them. They don't belong to our family. They need to be killed. And Dino aims his gun and shoots straight in the back of a fleeing gray suit. With his action, the crowd jumps into action. Guns go off in short succession, and the scene develops into chaos. I turn around to look for Francesca, but she's nowhere to be seen. And Dino! I nod to where she had been standing. He immediately understands. He pulls me up and we rush down off the stage back into the house. Lucy the Oinker has managed to find us. Why did she flee? Where? In here. She knows I told you about her involvement. We round the corner to the dining room and Dino shoves me out of the way and falls. Andino! Well, I'm not one to miss. Let's try that again. Andino is awake, but he's clutching his dominant arm, his shooting arm. She shoots another bullet, and I pull us under the table. Never thought I'd see the underside of this damn table so many times in the last few days. Fia, come out. Come out and play with my bullets. She starts walking around to our side of the table. I thought you wanted me to become the new Donna. Sure, that would be nice, but it's honestly out of my hands. You're ruining this family. Oh, honey, it's been ruined for a long, long time. Marco left us. The city ate us all up, and now we're all just left like this. She says this so happy, friendly. She shoots into the wall, and just like that, her voice shifts. Now, get the hell out from under the table. My back is starting to hurt looking for you. She shoots 3 rounds at the tabletop, splintering it. Maybe she'll run out of bullets. The Stericios? Really? They do make nice wine, and maybe I bought a few too many bottles, a tab too big to pay back. I remember Andino telling me that the Stericios had something over the Donna, that she was frivolous, had emptied the Don's pockets before absconding into the night. She really didn't care about this family. And you have the nerve to say that Don turned his back on his family. Oh, but that's a fact. Just ask that grandson of his. But me? I didn't abandon them. Not like the Don. What? When he left behind nothing, no instructions? He left behind me. I pop up from under the table. She takes one shot straight at my face. It grazes my cheek and I duck back under. Damn it, I just need to. Andino is silent. His breath is slowing, but he's looking at me, a look of pleading. In his hand is his gun. I take it. I whisper, I'm sorry. I lean around the legs of the table and see Francesca's legs. I aim and pull the trigger. Nothing happens. What the hell? Andino's gun is broken too? Poop! You got the safety on, girl. You gotta take the safety off. Just then, Lucy the Oinker ambles into the room, sniffing around. Oh, you again. Where's your mama, piggy? Poop. Lucy the Oinker sees me and immediately starts heading my way. Poop! Lucy the Oinker! No! Oh, there she is. Francesca pulls her gun up. I signal to Lucy the Oinker to attack, who gives out a confused squeal. Francesca shoots. Lucy the Oinker turns and charges. The bullet hits my leg, and Francesca hits the ground and is grappling with Lucy the Oinker, who is struggling to get her tusk into the scrawny woman. Damn it! I knew I should have turned you into bacon! Lucy the Oinker screams and falls off of her. No, not Lucy the Oinker! Poop this! I throw Andino's gun behind me and charge, do the only thing I know will work. Full tilt, I put all of my last remaining strength into running, into charging, ignoring the blood coming out of my own forgotten leg wound. I tackle Francesca. She hits the ground with a sick thud. She screams. She managed to get off a few shots, but I'm forcing her arms up to shoot into the walls. We roll into the front hallway, then finally I get her gun and throw her back into the dining room. Damn you! Damn you! Look at you, farm girl. I never knew you had it in you. See, I didn't need to teach you how to use a gun. Whatever else she was going to say gets cut off as another shot goes off and her mouth fills with blood. I have to watch her eyes go dull. I look up, it's Giacomi, a gun aimed at us. Giacomi. This family has gone through enough. If this was the Don's plan to throw us all out the window like this, damn him. I'm going to rule this family how he couldn't. His blood will continue to rule this family, damn his wishes. He moves the gun to me. Giacomi, wait! But he doesn't pull the trigger. He's looking into my eyes, fighting something. He moves his hand down just slightly. The fight in his eyes dies. The light goes out. He falls, blood blossoming from the hole in his head.
Wow, violent ending. I look back and Dino, sweating, panting, had crawled into the doorway, his discarded gun in his hand, and finally, Donna. And Dino. For the first time since arriving in New Working, I cry. The night is a long one. Lucy the Oinker survives, but has scars all over her face. She has a truly scary face now. She was scary before. And Dino struggles more with his wounds, but recovers after a long fever. His right shoulder sprouting a few new scars on top of the older ones. The first scars taken in line for his new Donna. The men outside outnumber the gray suits and make short work of them. The family members, those from far away and those that live right here between 4th and Central, they all look at me differently. One by one they line up and kiss my hand. To think me, that farm girl who had turned her back on our family, had become the head of the crime family that grandfather Marco had left behind. I was going to say godfather. I smile and keep smiling. This is it. This is where my life begins. 3 months later. The men in front of me finished giving their reports. Good news. We had the Stericios family falling back from our old blocks. We were quickly regaining ground now that we were better coordinated, more in sync with each other. The loss of Giacomi and Francesca had been felt by portions of the family. But no one doubted my orders. I wouldn't let them doubt my orders. Good. I look forward to your next report. They put their hands over their hearts. Of course, Donna. They leave and I lean back, letting out a sigh. We'll soon have all the lost territory reclaimed. The Veronocci family will be back at its full strength. I look at how Andino is favoring his left side. His right shoulder still hurts, it seems. I get up and look him over. Aww. Look at them, they're so cute. Good. Once we get there, perhaps we can relax slightly. But Donna needs a Don beside her, and I'm thinking it's going to be Andino. He looks at me, face emotionless. And then keep pushing. There, a smile. I look forward to it. I touch his shoulder. He doesn't flinch, but I can tell it's hurting him. Tell me when you need to rest. I need no such thing. Do not lie to me, Andino. Throughout it all, Andino was still by my side. My grandfather's right-hand man, now mine. Andino stands up straighter. Does your shoulder hurt? Yes. I'll have them deliver ointment for the wound. Thank you, my Donna. I smiled at that. I could hear in his voice an invitation. What had I ever done to deserve such a man? I lean in, pulling him closer with my hand. As usual, he follows my lead. Teach me how to use a gun so I can stop this from happening again. Of course. Every gun I picked up didn't work, even yours. Donna, you have to cock the gun. Cock? Yes. He's smiling, his blue-gray eyes shining. I smile too and lean in. Then yes, you'll have to show me that too. Aww. I kiss him on the mouth. He leans in, he smells sweet. Lucy the Oinker looks up from where she's dozing next to my desk, but goes back to sleep. Aw, that's so cute. Look at them. That's so sweet. This was a brand new life. The city could try to kill us, eat us. But there, like this, I felt like I could eat the whole city hall. There was damn nothing I couldn't do. I was Grandfather Marco's heir after all. Good end. Fia's right-hand man. Well, folks, that was the ending of The Dawn. And I hope you enjoyed that, or The New Dawn, I think it was called. And I really enjoyed this game. And it just has beautiful music, good writing. I felt like I was right into the story. So if you want to try this game yourself and try the other pass, I believe that you can romance Giacomi, and also that you can maybe make Francesca your friend.
I'm not sure actually, but if you want to try the other paths, then please download the link of the game. I have it down below. And hit that like button and subscribe to my channel to support Secret Door Gaming. And I hope everyone has an awesome day. Thank you.